What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here, thanks for stopping by. In this video here, we're going to be doing a bit of a tutorial here on how to complete and defeat the Dark Fae. It is the Dark Fae rotation for the Doom Tower, and obviously trying to complete the Doom Tower every month is top priority for you guys because it's just a bunch of free goodies. We get 2 sacred shards here, 5-star chicken, all the way at the top. It's a really big deal just trying to finish this. And of course, this rotation is especially important because Dark Fae gives you the best gear that is still relevant in the super end game. So I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about here in terms of the gear that you can get from the Dark Fae. It's actually called lethal gear, and lethal gear I use a ton on my account, mainly because it's free. First of all, it's free. It doesn't cost you energy or anything like that, so you just grind it over time. Second of all, you get tons of good quality pieces because you can apply charms to boost its rank, rarity, and of course a substat preference. So there's a lot of good things going on here with the acquisition of the lethal gear if you can get a good farm going. So this is the lethal set here. It's 10 crit rate for a 4-piece, and then you can ignore 25% of the enemy defense. Now this is the best 4-piece kind of damage gear that you can apply with Stone Skin. So this is really important because as long as Stone Skin is really important for arena, yeah, lethal proves to be one of the best sets for that. Now, the other big thing is that lethal requires time to farm in the game. So you want to be farming Dark Fae every 3 months. So that's the rotation of the Dark Fae rotation. And when you compare the gear set versus the Savage gear set, so Savage is just ignore 25% of the enemy defense. So lethal gives you an additional 10 crit rate. Now this might not be a big deal, but it does help you in terms of build flexibility. On my account, I don't have many champions geared out in Savage gear because, you know, free to play or low spender or whatever, you're not going to be committing that much energy into Fire Knight all the time for Savage gear. So over time, I've been able to get quite a bit of lethal gear, and basically all my critical champions are built in lethal gear. Outside of some PvE champions that you might use Merciless in, for example, or some specific builds that you have champions in with other sets, it's going to be usually Stone Skin plus lethal. So anyways, guys, I'm going to jump into this and then show you guys exactly how to build a team and how it should work. Dark Fae is one of the hardest and also one of the easiest once you get the idea of what you need to do. So let's jump into it. So first, we're going to go into here. This is my normal farming team. So my normal farming team, obviously, this is not going to be a team that works for everybody. It's about, you know, a 90-second farm, right? I'll show you guys exactly how this team works. We have an AoE damage dealer, but the AoE damage dealer also will give us increased speed. That's really important against Dark Fae. Dark Fae starts off with 250 speed, so you need a pretty fast team to be able to outlap the Dark Fae. You also need turn meter reduction champions. So anybody that can reduce turn meter works really well. You can kind of see here I have Allure as an epic, and Newt is basically just the super updated Allure version. So if we go into this, the first encounter with the Dark Fae, you can see they take a copy of your team. The big thing is, even though it's a copy of your team, you always go first. So what you want to do with your first champion in line is that you want that champion to give your team the opportunity to go first. So ideally, it would be a champion that maybe boosts turn meter, or in this case, I have a Hegemon. I use my Hegemon's AoE to just wipe out the team. Once the team's wiped out, then we have to deal with the Dark Fae. But this first engagement against the mirror team, you want, like I said, to give your team the chance to go first. So either a turn meter boost or a turn meter pushback or an increased speed type ability, or you can bring one nuke, try to kill a team, or you can bring a crowd control champion, like for example, Arman's. You can come in here, stun everybody, steal all their turn meter, and then you can deal with your mirror team easily. That's the idea, and that starts with the first champion in your team to go, okay? Once the mirror team is down, what you want to do right away is to apply increased speed or decreased speed right away. So usually what happens is you want to increase speed, and then after that, you can either reduce the turn meter or you can go for big damage. So in this case, my team is pretty much speed tuned so that I can recover even if I don't do the turn meter drop right away, because we have Allure just doing the A1. A1 reduces the turn meter. That's amazing. Here, with the Royal Guard, what should have happened is that he applies the decreased speed right away to give us a speed advantage against the Dark Fae. Decreased speed is really big deal against the Dark Fae, especially if you have a longer fights. Longer fights, you really need to try to keep pace with the Dark Fae, try to outlap her, bring her turn meter down, decrease her speed, increase your turn meter. In this case, I must have used this at somewhere in the fight, so I'm just going to use the max HP hit. Royal Guard is one of the easier options to do the damage with. He also brings, like I said, decreased speed and decreased defense, which is good against the boss as well. And then after that, you basically just try to do damage against the boss. Hegemon is also very good here, is that he does bring decreased speed, so it really helps. And then we have the Allure dropping the turn meter, and now everything is great. This is a full auto team. Obviously, I'm just showing you exactly what the mechanics are needed. But yeah. Basically, this is how it goes. Anyways, we're not gonna finish this fight here. I'm going to try and show you guys a couple more teams and how they work against the boss. Obviously, like I said, this is not a team for everybody, but it has the mechanics that you need to get through this boss easily. So I'll show you a couple more examples here. All right, guys, so this is a team kind of that, captures everything you need to do against Dark Fae. You don't necessarily need like a powerhouse team full of mythicals or anything like that. You just need a team that functions well and works well against the Dark Fae. It looks and resembles kind of like an arena team. So first, ideally you have a speed lead. It gives you more flexibility with your gear. It also gives you more opportunity to outpace the Dark Fae. And you're going to start off with a turn meter booster. So turn meter booster or increased speed champion, or even a decreased speed champion like Lysandra. Lysandra is very good against Dark Fae as well. It gives the opportunity for your team to go first versus your mirror. And then of course, it's going to give you more chance to overlap the speed from the Dark Fae. And then afterwards, we have champions that reduce the turn meter and help out with some damage. This whole team functions in that way. So we have High Katoon here. High Katoon is actually really solid as a free option. She brings decreased speed on the A1. She brings increased speed and a turn meter boost for your team, which is really good as well. Like I said, you want to outspeed the Dark Fae. This one, it's not super important, but yes, it does help a little bit for the turn meter drop, only 15% though. Arbiter is obviously very good, gives you increased attack and a big turn meter boost. Cold Heart here is a little bit of an MVP budget option. She brings damage as well as a turn meter drop as well. Now, all of this turn meter stuff, you need accuracy. So keep that in mind. Accuracy against Dark Fae on level 120, the final boss on hard difficulty, you need about 350 accuracy. It's not easy to do, guys, especially paired up with really good speeds. So make sure you keep that in mind. And lastly, again, we are still using the Royal Guard here. Royal Guard is very strong because he brings the max HP damage, helps kill the boss, decreased speed here, and a decreased defense, which really helps as well, brings the max HP damage threshold down a little bit. And then we have Allure. You just shut off all her abilities, just use her A1 against the boss, which is really good. Now obviously the key champions on this team are the champions that can bring down the turn meter. So if you want to commit your fastest speed gear on anybody, it's got to be your kind of your engine champion, which basically powers your team with the turn meter boosting, like an Arbiter. And then you should invest all your speed gear into the fastest champion like an Allure, which allows you to bring down the turn meter of the boss. So I'm going to show you guys this team against the boss. So I'll show you guys exactly how it works. All right, so we made it to the boss, and I'll show you guys exactly how this team kind of works and what you guys should be looking for when building your own teams. Now, this is not like a perfect team or speed tune. I didn't change any builds or anything like that. Some of the builds are very modest, but I'll show you guys the stats afterwards. So first, like I said, you always go first. So your first champion always goes first. You want the turn meter boost so that your whole team will go before the enemy. So here we go. And now we need to, since we have Cold Heart coming in here second, we know that the enemy Cold Heart will be coming in here second as well. If this was a, more refined team, you would probably have some kind of crowd control champion. So your Arbiter would boost into your crowd control champion. But in this case, we're just going to use the Cold Heart. I think I have some turn meter pushback here. So we couldn't kill anybody, unfortunately. So let's see if we can try to get through this. Let's use the Arbiter's Revive and see if we can kill the High Katoon. We can. Perfect. And then we have Allure here with the AoE decreased defense. She can definitely help here. Hopefully we can kill somebody. Yes, we do. And okay, at this point, we really want to land the multi-hit decrease speed. So ideally, we kill the Arbiter with the multi-hit decrease speed and land a decreased speed against the boss. Let's see if it happens. And it does not. Okay, we don't want to use the Heart Seeker from the Cold Heart here. All right, we got a little bit lucky in terms of the RNG. All right, there we go. And now we can drop the Heart Seeker against the boss. The Heart Seeker drops the turn meter and does a little bit of damage. And then unfortunately we got resisted, so that feels kind of bad. But this is kind of how you are, off to the races, right, against the boss. So we really want to, outspeed the boss here. We have the allure for the turn meter drop, gives us a little bit of a cushion. Looks good. Hopefully we can get the decreased speed back. Arbiter, huge here with the revive. Turn meter boosting, perfect. And then we have the allure dropping the boss here, perfect. Unfortunately, we not the best stats on this team, so we're getting resisted everywhere. Yep, getting resisted everywhere, so it feels kind of bad. But yeah, basically that's the extent of what's going to happen here. Hopefully we can get the turn meter push back. Nope, we don't, but we get the revive back. And then we get the turn meter here. Can we get the allure up and running? Let's see if we can get this going. Come on. There we go. We got the allure back. Okay, decrease speed. Can we land it? Yes. There we go. We landed it. That's huge. And the allure gets taken again. Increase speed. Turn meter boost. And then slam. Can we kill her? Not quite. There we go. But you guys get the idea, right? You guys get the idea. You guys might be your first playthrough through this boss fight, so you probably will have to manual it anyways. But you can kind of see that my team is very, very fragile, but it just gives you an idea of how you can navigate through this fight. The Heart Seeker, again, getting resisted. I guess I don't have enough accuracy on this Cold Heart, for example. But you guys get the idea here. So right now we're in control. For the most part, we're in control. I'll show you guys the stats on this team. We probably would have had it anyways. All right, looks like our High Katoon didn't even have gear on. I'll show you guys the stats here just to see what it works. 230 speed on the High Katoon, very slow. Like I said, the Dark Fae is 250 speed. Accuracy definitely light. Arbiter, it's my best Arbiter, 400 speed. Can be obviously less speed, but Arbiter is very good at keeping the team going, your engine. Cold Heart here, she's quite quick, but no accuracy. So this is not the ideal Cold Heart. I'm using probably the wrong Cold Heart for this job. Cold Heart only needs 70% crit rate as well to land the Heart Seeker. So definitely more accuracy is needed. And then I have a Roll Guard here. He doesn't have enough accuracy for this job. He has the crit rate, crit damage, decent-ish speed, but honestly a little bit faster would be more ideal. And then Allure here, under speed, under the Dark Fae 250, but enough accuracy to land her A1 turn meter drop. So I'll show you guys a couple more ideas here for team comps. So like in this team, we have Deacon Armstrong. Deacon Armstrong is a really good turn meter champion. So he brings the turn meter boost, as well as a turn meter pushback, and then the decreased defense. A leech is actually kind of nice too as well, just to help your champion stay alive, especially if you don't have a reviver. Speed in all battles, very, very strong. Apothecary, I mean, super budget option here. They're definitely going to be better, but you got the increased speed, turn meter fill, which is going to be useful, and this is what you're looking for this type of team. Afterwards, we have the trifecta of like budget, incredible, efficient options here. Obviously, Cold Heart, very good. Allure, MVP for this boss if you don't have Newt, for example, or anybody better. And then Roll Guard is going to be very, very good as well against Dark Fae. After that, we have another team set up here that I want to show you guys. It's a little bit different. But it gives you guys an idea on what else you guys can use. So again, we saw High Katoon in action. Armiger is actually very decent here. I actually used Armiger the first time I cleared Dark Fae myself. Basically, he brings the decreased turn meter on his A1, which is really, really good. So if you have him in like Relentless gear, for example, obviously it takes quite a bit of stats, right? You need 100% crit rate, you need him with good accuracy, you need him, and he's an uncommon champion, so his stats are not going to be there, but it takes crazy amount of stats, and then he can pitch in some damage too if you got him with decent crit damage. So Armiger is an option, or any kind of champion with a turn meter drop on the A1 can work with somebody like an ally attack. So if you put an ally attack on the team, suddenly your A1s become very good. So let's say, for example, you don't have Allure. which is so MVP in this battle. You bring somebody like an ally attack, and suddenly he can send all your other turn meter droppers in at once. So for example, Visix actually works quite well against this boss as well. She brings 2 hits with a 100% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 15%. So that's actually really, really good. She also brings decreased speed as well. And she also brings provoke. So like I said, you can start off with your fastest champion, turn meter boost into your Visix, and then she can actually provoke the enemy team. So it keeps your team safe and the mirror team crowd control. Visix is actually very strong for this fight. The problem with Visix is that she's a defense-based champion, so she might be hard to kill. So if you don't have a great damage dealer and you can't one-shot the mirror team, then Visix, you have to gear down your Visix a little bit so that she can die right away. But like I said, with the ally attack, suddenly her A1 becomes, you know, way more powerful. You're going to get way more frequently. Again, Relentless Gear would be very good on any of these champions. And then lastly, we have Herndig. Herndig is a very solid kind of champion. He does bring turn meter drop. He does bring the big AoE decreased defense and a big slam here as well. So you want to find DPS champions that have turn meter reduction, turn meter increase, decrease speed, increase speed. So like I showed Razovar, Rogard, now I'm showing Herndig, just to give you guys, you know, something to chew on, something to think about here. Let's go over my entire vault and I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about here. So other effects, you want to look for decreased turn meters, and it's going to be a negative effect, which is kind of weird, but decrease turn meter. So these are the champions from my entire stash that kind of have the decreased turn meter ability in some way or form. Lady Kimmy, for example, is very cool in this role as well. She does bring the turn meter pushbacks on the A1. She got decreased speed, decreased accuracy, which is very useful as well with the turn meter pushback. And then she has the turn meter up with the increased speed, increased accuracy. Kimmy is actually very good for this fight. And then she has a big speed aura in Doomtar as well. Kind of made for this fight, to be honest. Thor would be very awesome in this fight as well. He's kind of squishy, but he does bring decreased speed, big AoE damage, so you can wipe out the mirrors right away. Armans, if you have Armans, obviously insanely good for this fight because you just boost right into him and then he controls the entire fight, controls the mirrors. He also can bring down the turn meter of the boss, which is wild. But I think in terms of legendaries, Newt would be the absolute stud for this. He has the A1 turn meter pushback and then he has the triple max HP hits. He's just huge for that. The problem is he might be a bit too tanky to die if you don't have a good AoE damage dealer. Now that's a bit of a problem, of course. So you just have to make the team around them accordingly. Ruella is actually a pretty decent champion as well. She brings decreased defense, decreased speed, which is very good. Turn meter buff here, turn meter boost here as well. So Ruella could be an option. Yeah, there's really quite a bit of flexibility with how you want to build these teams, but you just have to make sure that they're kind of speed tuned, especially if you want to make a farming, farmable team, right? You don't want to just manual all these fights. If you want to have a farmable team, you need to have some kind of speed tune happening, especially against the boss. What you don't want to bring into this fight is somebody like Sun Wukong, because it's kind of funny because if you wipe out the mirror Sun Wukong, he will come back and then basically obliterate your team. So definitely don't want that to happen. So leave them off your team. You also don't want to bring in any super tanky revivers, for example, like somebody like Pythion, just really, really tanky. You just don't want to bring in anybody like that. Like I said, you want to bring in champions that are very, you know, they have purpose role, they're kind of fragile, just enough HP to withstand a random hit from the Dark Fae, but you really don't want the Dark Fae to take a turn if you can help it. And just for interest's sake, I'm going to show you guys my updated Dark Fae team on my main account. This is a really, really efficient team, so I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Obviously, it's pretty busted. It's not an early game or even mid game or late game team. I have 3 Newts and Marius here, and then we have the Nekmothar as the turn meter booster. But yeah, we'll show you guys exactly how this goes. It's very, very crazy. So Nekmothar goes in a turn meter boost. We're gonna get the turn right away. Marius wipes out the waves, and then it's just max HP slams all the way home. Can we get it? Yes, there we go. Boom. And then the Reaper comes in, finishes her off. 12 turn, 31 seconds. And yeah, this is my farming team. Really, really cool what you can do at the, obviously ultra end game. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully it was helpful for you guys. Hopefully it gave you guys a good idea on what you guys need to do to basically defeat and farm The most important Doom Tower boss, and we only see her once every 3 months. Make sure you guys do your best in terms of farming her. Another quick last tip here. If you guys ever run into the rotation where you guys really want to farm the top level boss, save your secret room completions until the very end. So what I mean by that is do not complete your secret rooms until you open the top level. After that, then you can complete the secret rooms. You guys can accumulate the keys and then spend the keys into the top level. If you guys were completing the secret rooms as you guys were climbing, you guys would have spent and wasted your extra keys farming non-top level levels. So just a quick little piece of warning there. You guys could get some extra crafts, obviously, by farming the keys at the very end and then farming the top level instead. Anyways, folks, that's going to be it. Hopefully it was informative. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are using for your Dark Fae. I know this is a little bit of a redundant topic, but there's a lot of new players coming out in this game that are looking for a little bit of guidance. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Thanks for watching until the end. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.